Hello everybody and welcome to Hearthstone ESL Legendary Series. My name is Nimsh and I'm here with Sol and Elky to bring you the first semi-final. Sol, who do we see?
We have the matchup between SilverName and Elscouta, both very impressive in their opening rounds. Elscouta showed very good handling of the control matchups, really dictated the pace with his Control Priest and his Reno Lock in particular. Oh,
was it Reno Lock?
No, it was Zoo, right?
Yeah.
It was Pally, anything Pally.
Anything Pally, Control Priest, yeah, that's right.
You would put a Reno Lock there because there's
yeah,
so
my brain just went to Control, and yeah, SilverName, very impressive performance in his own right, you know, justifying the hype of him being an incredibly strong ladder player, so very impressive performance from both, but one of them has to go out now.
Yeah, it's gonna be an exciting match for sure.
And Elscouta is from France, right?
France, yeah, it's from France. It's gonna represent us, France actually, because there were like what 3 Spanish players here,
yes.
Only 1 French.
Yeah. So Elky, is it like, what does it mean for you to cast the French
Now, it's very important because like French people are like the best at StarCraft and at Hearthstone. I think there are a lot of them that are really good, but besides the Korean, of course. But like, yeah, it feels good to cast the French guy and to see one on the stage, especially a new face, right? Because I think I haven't heard of him before.
He's a fresh player. I don't think we've seen him before, but this is a big moment to shine in this tournament, and he already guaranteed himself 1,000 USD because they are in the top 4, and they are fighting for 2,000 more at least for the second place. If they go in the final,
nice.
There's at least $3,000, and for the first place, 5,000.
That's a big bump just for winning one game of Hearthstone to go from 1,000 to 2,000 extra. So, yeah, huge amount of stuff on the line. Of course, the amount of Hearthstone Championship Tour points goes up exponentially as well the further you progress. So things start to be on the line in serious quantities, even if you don't end up winning the tournament here, just for each individual game that you win.
Absolutely, and let's look at the bracket. So how those players got here today. So SilverName was able to actually SilverName. Sounds good, right?
It does. It sounds very noble and distinguished. Like, it'd be a good thing to call yourself, for sure, yeah.
He won versus Zivo 3-1, and that was a very convincing win. And then Elscouta won 3-1 as well versus Lucky Shadow. So those guys, they know what's up. They know how to win.
Yeah, this is a slightly more dominant side of the bracket. The little Spanish district down at the bottom there, that was all 3-2, but a couple of 3-1s up at the top, so players asserting their dominance a little bit more.
All right, and Elky, who do you think has an advantage coming into this match?
Well, it's very difficult to say actually. I think Elscouta has maybe a better lineup against the Control one, but I mean, obviously they're both really great players. It's very difficult to also like even if they have a better lineup, like they can kind of like manipulate it, and if they end up having like one counter who win against another deck, like in Conquest it's a bit different, right? Because even if you have like one deck that are really strong against all the 3 decks of your opponents, then you can only take 1 win, and then you have to use another deck. So it's I think it's, how do you say it, a more balanced format.
Definitely. And the game is already starting. Paladin versus Warrior. So we will get back to the lineups, especially because we also have the bans. I believe Mage is banned for Elscouta. And then
No, Mage is banned for SilverName.
Oh, for SilverName.
Yeah.
And then Priest for
Elscouta.
For Elscouta.
Correct, yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of weird to ban Mage if he has like anything and Druid, because they're both really good against Freeze Mage, right?
Yeah, he has anything, Pally, and the Druid, which can both quite easily take a game of Freeze Mage, but then the Control Priest and the Warlock that I believe was Zoo, yeah, then
Zoo is tough.
That's a lot more difficult.
Sure.
So, you know, maybe he just felt like if he was going to get his Druid banned, for example, then the Freeze Mage was too powerful. Maybe that was what he was looking at. But anyway, getting into game 1 here, we do have that anything Pally that was so fun to watch in round 1 up against the Patron Warrior, and this is a much greater improvement in this matchup than the old-fashioned mid-range Paladin was. You can definitely get the job done.
It is. And you say Patron Warrior, but
yes,
there are Worgens inside.
There are.
That's why SilverName.
Oh, he kept the Whirlwind, by the way.
He kept the Whirlwind?
He kept the Whirlwind and the Acolyte.
Interesting. Why would you keep the Whirlwind against what you know is Murlocs?
Do you know exactly if there is no Master for Battle? Because I've seen people playing a one-off.
Right, it's uncommon. There's like a board control anything variation that still has like the really strong Paladin cards in it, right?
Yeah,
the mini bot and the muster, but it's rare, and I don't think you'd keep Whirlwind for that reason. So he probably has some other motive.
Yeah, I think against some of the earlier versions they had the mini bot and the muster to get into the later game, but now they just replaced it with like the Doomsayer and the.
Oh yeah, definitely. And then there's Humility as well. So what do you guys think about inclusion of Humility in the Murloc deck?
It's a good card. It just buys time. You know, it gives you an extra turn sometimes, which is what you need. You know, 2 outdoor peacekeepers as neutralizers sometimes isn't enough in the deck. You want to draw the one really consistently. You know, you'd rather have an outdoor most of the time, but sometimes humility will do the job if you haven't drawn one. So.
Yeah. Elky, what do you think about this matchup? Do you think that Patron, with the combo, because there's Worgen hidden in his deck as well with Charge and Rampage, is it good or is it like balanced matchup? Who has an edge?
I think it seems pretty good for Patron, but it kind of depends if they can clear the board. Like, yeah, I think Patron, like the version of Patron now is kind of like more of tempo. Like if they like have really strong tempo, it's hard for mid-range Paladin to deal with that much tempo. But
Yeah,
the good thing about Paladin is that like they're clear. Patron doesn't have Death Rattle minions besides like Shredder and Belcher, so when they have a clear, they have a clean one usually.
Yeah.
I think that the struggle that the old mid-range Paladin used to have was that there was 1 Equality in the deck and 2 Consecrates.
Yeah.
So you only had 1 Equality and you only had 2 real genuine activators for it, whereas this deck you have double Equality and you have 4 activators for it as well. So
Doomsayer
it's
as
just
well.
a much more likely thing to go off.
Yeah, definitely. So for the viewers who are not accustomed to the deck, the Paladin deck actually has Murlocs in it. They would try to play the Murlocs, they would try to stall the game, till the moment where you can play anything can happen and deal a lot of damage. And what are the damage thresholds? Sol, I'm asking you that question. Like,
Enormous amounts of damage. More damage than just a car control warrior can get out of range of. Let's put it that way.
But overall, if all Murlocs die, so
Yes.
like you're running how many Murlocs? 5 Murlocs.
Yeah, double Murkai, double War Leader, and...
Yeah.
Only one Makai, right?
sorry, double Bluegill, double War Leader.
I'd be
and
sick if
Murkai,
you could have more Makai.
Yeah, sorry.
But,
sorry, yeah.
So you have what? Like the Bluegills will attack for 12 total because they will be 6 attack, and then old Murkai will be 6 plus 3, 9. Right?
6 plus 4.
4.
6 plus 4.
Yeah, 10.
Okay.
That's like 22.
22 damage. So
22
that's
damage
one
in one
threshold.
turn.
Like if you get everything.
And then if you get it again, it's more.
And
But
then-
then it's like a bit random because you don't know which one are coming. But
Right.
it's more than 22. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
the second anything is like the 16 plus 16 plus... about 1 million damage, basically. So that's what happens. Which is interesting. I just want to go back a couple of turns in this game. Elscouta deliberately skipped hero power on turn 2. He turn 2 passed, did not even press hero power because of the threat of exactly this card coming down here, Acolyte of Pain. So really good recognition of the situation. Quite often it's correct to skip turn 2 hero power in this matchup as the Paladin, unless you have the coin and True Silver champion. He has the True Silver, but he wouldn't have been able to play it to contest this turn, so he avoids giving his opponent a free card this turn by skipping the hero power.
Definitely. And Elky, what do you think Warrior is looking for? SilverName, what does he need to win this matchup?
well, I need patrons probably. But I mean, there's a lot of things. He just needs tempo. I think it just needs like either a shredder or like to put pressure on the Paladin because basically like the longer the game is gonna go, the clear of the Paladin are gonna be more powerful, and then like anything can happen. Of course, it's gonna do much more damage as the game goes on.
Yeah.
Because like even if you have it turn 10, like if only a few Murloc dies, it might be pretty weak. Sometimes it's like really weak. Like anything can happen, and like 1/2/1 Murloc comes back. It's not very good value, right? It's rare, but
10 mana for 2 Murlocs, like By the way, I want to mention that the Priest was banned, and Priest has this cool option to entomb your Murloc, so that it never dies and it will never return, for anything can happen. But so far so good. Like Elscouta got 3 Murlocs already. War Reader gone, so we'll have to remember that one.
Yeah, this is really similar to the last game where he didn't hit that much cycle early and he just drew the Murlocs really quickly into the anythins following it up. So it's going to be hard for SilverName to contest this because as Elky said, one way you can win this matchup is just consistent pressure and tempo, and then you lock down a board with like Lotheb or something. The other way is just to go all in as early as you can on patrons and hope that there's no equality clear yet, but we see already the equality is there to answer that, so
but it
it's
only
going to
has
be...
equality, right? It doesn't, I mean, equality kind of answers it, but it doesn't kill them.
Right. Equality on its own is like a soft answer. Like it does the job, but the damage is still there hitting you.
Definitely. But there are still no patrons, so
yeah, exactly.
It doesn't look great. Alright, so what do you do here? Just going with Death Spray doesn't make sense. If there will be a patron in hand, then maybe. So they just Acolyte of, like,
I think he wants to cycle probably. I don't know if he wants to use the Acolyte on the shield block. The shield block is more... I mean, the Acolyte is only gonna get you 1 card.
Right.
You might want just to save it for the Death Bite, Death Water, or like the Whirlwind to combo it with those effects.
Yeah.
Instead of just like...
So it looks like he's trying to bait out the second swing of the True Silver with the Armor Smith first, so he can potentially get more value out of the Acolyte long term, which makes sense.
It's so interesting that this deck runs, like Paladin, runs so many cards that are not being run in other decks. Like Humility, those Murlocs, Lay on Hands even, like being a rare card. You don't normally see it in Paladins nowadays.
Yeah.
Because they don't play many mid-range Paladin, right? Like Divine Favor is usually better for sequence than Lay on Hands, and you kind of like feel the same purpose.
Yeah, Solemn Vigil generally a weak card in most decks as well, but the synergy with it with Doomsayer in this deck in particular is just so insane that
even with the equality, with like a Pyromancer equality, it's usually gonna kill more than like 4 or 5, so it's gonna be like
even like trading your Murlocs into other minions, drawing cards. You know your Murlocs are gonna come back at some point.
Right, you just play like Bluegill Warrior, double trade, Solemn Vigil for 1. Like, yeah, sweet.
Okay. All right, so for the Paladin.
So does he want to use his weapon to clear an Armor Smith? Armor Smith is pretty armless, but then...
Yeah, we talked about damage thresholds. So if he thinks that Warrior can actually escape the damage threshold of the first Murloc...
Of the first one, sure.
Yeah, the first one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like a threshold and it's just winning.
Yeah. There is no escaping both Anyfins being drawn and played. It's just not a thing that happens. You can't get out of range of that. It's an absurd amount of damage.
Last game, I think he had something like 45.
45? Huh?
Yeah. There was
I remember, yeah, insane.
Double Murkai for like...
Yeah, and I think that was like a particularly unlucky roll as well. He only got like 3 out of 7 charge minions or something in the end. Yeah, so.
Yeah, but actually it ended up being maybe more because of the buffs of the War Leaders. They're like stack up even.
That's true.
Better, like,
that's true.
War Leader is not charged, but if you have 3 War Leaders, it's like insane. Every Murloc is like +6 attack.
Unlucky roll. He just attacked for 45.
So yeah, the Murlocs are starting to build up in Elscouta's hand here. He can use the combination of a Bluegill and a Murkai to deal with the Lothep here if he wants to. Attack with the Murkai first for 3 and then the Bluegill for 2. Which, sometimes with this deck, you do have to do these horrible value things where it's like, I'm going to charge these 2 Murlocs into 1 minion, but it's like...
It's still good.
Yeah, these Murlocs are essentially just like units of mana. You need to get them played and dead. Like, that's your goal. Like, it's a really weird strategy that the deck kind of pushes you into, but... Yeah, that's just a 2-for-1 with charge minions from your own hand that you're happy about. Like,
definitely.
When's the last time you saw Face Hunter do that? Wolf Rider, double trade with a Lothep.
Maybe we'll get any charge can happen in the future. And just resurrect all the charge minion and goes face.
Yeah.
So there is a patron now in the hand. So one of the deck strategies, the other being the Worgen, is in hand. But yeah, we've mentioned a lot of AoE possibilities, and we even see it in the hand right now. Pyromancer equality can easily deal with the patron board. So I think from Warrior's perspective, what you have to try to do is maybe bait out that removal and force Paladin to use it before you go with the patrons. If that's even possible.
That's a good strategy, but like, how is he gonna which kind of threat does he want to put for the Paladin to use Equality Consecration in this situation?
Yeah, true. He only has weapons in hand.
Like he has like a Inventor, but it's probably not gonna be Inventor and Acolyte and.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's natural reaction to seeing a Gnomish Inventor dropped on the board is, oh damn, I better Equality Consecrate that. Like, oh.
Maybe if you play it really slowly. Or like slam it, it's like, yeah! Oh, poor Gnomish Inventor.
Yeah, does he have any other threats like in his deck that he wants to...
I think you have to cut a lot of the threats to make room for the extra Worgen pieces and stuff, because he was saying he plays the Worgen as the finisher instead of Gromash, for example, so the Grom isn't there, we know that for sure.
Oh, so does he just want to wait for the combo?
I guess so. I mean, he's probably going to have to try and build up his combo and try and burst down from a high health quicker than the Paladin can, and it's a similar number of cards that they both have to assemble, right? The Murlocs into the Anyfin and then the Worgen plus all the charge pieces.
Yeah, so let's talk about Worgen and charge, because I'm not sure if everybody's familiar with it. So basically Worgen, when it's enraged, it can attack twice, it gets Wind Fury, and it gets +1 attack.
Yep.
So with Inner Rage, it gets +3, which will be the free attack base, +3, 6. Then with Rampage, you get it up to 9, and with Charge, you get it up to 11, which means that with double attack, it's 22 points of damage.
Yeah, and then you also have the potential for Cruel Taskmaster as well, because you're buffing the health with Rampage as well. You can afford to put even more Enrage effects on there. So.
Or even just a Weapon Strike, just to top the damage, right?
Yeah. I mean, once you get into like the stupid stuff, you have to have Emperor'd your hand first to make it all mana viable, but
So the dynamics of the game will be mostly from both players just to try to contain the board and what your opponent is doing. Maybe try to escape the first combo range, and just accumulate a lot of cards. Because you need those combo pieces.
Yeah, cycle while controlling. That's the name of the game, and it's two things that these decks are both good at. You know, Patron has the Death Spite, which is a great clearing tool, but then on the same turn as you clear something, you can cycle it with Acolytes. You're doing both at the same time. Anything Pally, same sort of thing. You know, you get a big clear, and then you have a 0-mana Solemn Vigil that you can use to cycle in the same turn. So they're both decks that excel at doing that kind of thing.
So Elky, from your perspective, who do you think has an edge right now?
Well, the Paladin has both anything in his hand, which is like really big, because in 2 turns he can play 1, and then it's also like a lot of Murloc died already. I think
one
Murkai, one
Murkai,
one Bluegill, and
one
War Leader, right?
Correct,
so it's gonna be like 2 Bluegill, and so it's gonna be like 6 Murlocs.
Yeah.
5 Murlocs coming back, right?
But we just got a Worgen, which means we have 5 plus 3, 8, 10, 24 damage. Right.
Does he? Charge puts it up to 5, enrage to 6, 8, 10, 24, yeah.
25 with Armorsmith.
25 with the Armorsmith, yeah.
So close already.
Yeah.
Yep.
Elscouta if he's good is I have 30 life, I'm good against patrons, you know, he's gonna make some patrons, you know. And then actually
it's like, oh,
24.
so unlucky, he didn't even get an inner rage for the patron.
He's saving it for the Worgen. I mean, I guess he figures that in his position, like it's just like almost the same to clear two patrons or 4 patrons for the Paladin. Either he has equality Pyromancer and he clear like 6 patrons, or he can't clear 2, right?
Definitely. You also want to bait out you want to bait out the removal, that's one thing. Or if there is no removal because the Paladin suddenly thinks, hey, this board is not that threatening, it's just a couple of patrons, I'll wait for more. You just deal that 7 damage and you win.
Yeah.
So it's taking his chances. But Elscouta will probably try to clear this.
Yeah, he's just debating whether he wants to use the Pyro or the Consecration, pretty much. I'm fairly sure whatever he does, the Bluegill Warrior comes down to follow it up, just because he has both Anyfins sat in his hand and he's about to hit 10 mana, so he needs to get that thing played. So he's just considering the relative merits of, you know, did I want to do anything else this turn apart from just Bluegill Warrior? And I guess he decides no, he'd rather just keep the cheaper option of the Pyromancer in his hand.
It's so funny, but if there is Gnomish Inventor being played next turn and then Rampage being drawn, Gnomish Inventor actually gets him into the lethal range, I think.
Nice.
It's like, it's really close. Alright, actually, if there is a Rampage being drawn, what happens? With the Rampage, that will be 13, 26, 30, so Gnomish Inventor will not be that needed.
But you can play the Rampage, right?
Yeah, next turn you'd have
next turn if you have, yeah. Well, if you would top deck it right now,
you will win.
Yeah, if you would top deck it right now, that was I think 30.
No, he can't play it, right? It costs 2 mana, so
6, 8.
Oh, I mean, if he'd have drawn it instead of that Patron.
That would be a win right there.
Yeah.
Which is kind of crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Deck does do a colossal amount of
29 health.
Right.
So yep, eats that Rampage, and SilverName can also decide on playing Patron this turn, because you just seen equality, right? So we're like, sure. Yeah, I think this is pretty nice.
So probably see anything to clear here, I imagine. Just for safety.
Yeah, he can clear and keep the minions on board. So
yeah, he has 3 charges. Ooh, whoa there, Nelly.
Oh really?
Well, if he doesn't clear his... If he doesn't clear his dead.
Yep.
If he even leaves... Like, this is still 20 damage in hand. 22 now. Fireworks is lethal.
Yeah.
It's Fireworks, Battle Rage. How much mana will he have? He can still get. He can still get it.
He can still hit Rampage. Yeah, 2 draws. 2
cards
draws for Rampage.
Actually, you probably lose to anything next turn. Do you just go for Worgen and rage it?
Oh, I think you're right.
Is it enough, or is it one off? No, it should be
enough. That's enough. Yeah.
Because of Gnomish Inventor.
Yes.
Because that's 24 plus 2, right?
Yes, 26. I believe it's 26.
Does he have enough mana?
Oh.
What?
26. Okay, Worgen plus charge is 5. The natural in range is 6. Inner rage. Oh, he can't Taskmaster it. It will be out of health. It'll be out of health. He needs the Rampage. He needs exactly the Rampage.
Can he Taskmaster the Gnomish Inventor?
That'd be 1 short.
Because he'll be at 24. No, wait. Come on. One more time. I just need to count it one more time. He got Rampage, by the way, but... So, Worgen is 4 attack.
Yeah.
Then you can get it to +4, so it's 8.
Charge.
And +2 with charge.
Is
so
plus 10.
So it's 20.
Yeah, plus the 2 from the
Yeah.
Gnomish is 22.
Yeah. Oh,
In
man,
range, that is 1 short.
That's so sad.
Yeah.
But what are the numbers we're even talking about?
I know. What's happened to our game, Nimsh? Like, why are these crazy things
right? You should have
happening?
leader with anything.
Yeah, this is roughly 1 million damage.
Yeah, he does have it for sure.
Yeah.
It's like 36. 46 plus, that's like
Yeah,
42,
212s
42
and 2
damage.
6s going in. Yeah.
42 damage. That's
42 damage. Yeah.
Is it exact lethal or is it... Yeah, it was actually exact lethal, right?
That's exactly.
wow.
This game was
What a
crazy.
game!
Like, if you look at this game, a Rampage top deck would just win it.
Yep.
And there was nothing on board. Like, you could just like win it with if he top decks Rampage.
Yep.
He got the Inner Rage, and he got the Taskmaster, which was 1 damage off. It was super close, but yeah, Worgen didn't have enough health.
Yeah, it was 1 damage off or 1 health on the Rorgon.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
He'll be writing to Blizzard saying, "Hey, in standard, can you just change Raging Organ to a 3/4? Like, you know, just do us all a favor. Make it a 3/4. It'll be fine."
Yeah. That was an impressive match.
Yeah, exciting games. They both were, their decks were like revolved around the same thing, kind of like a big combo to do like a lot of damage. And it's
It was like a cowboy standstill, right? Like 2 guys basically.
Yeah. Who's gonna take the first shot? It's like, oh, you missed. Sorry, you're dead.
Wow. Okay, so what's left? So Paladin is out because it won the game, and this Worgen deck is still there.
Yeah.
The Worgen deck will continue
The
struggling.
Worgen is still there. So Elscouta has Druid and Warlock left to win with. So Druid and Zoo up against the Druid, Rogue, and Patron Warrior of SilverName.
So the Patron deck should be good versus Zoo, and it should be good versus Druid.
Not as good as normal because you
Yeah.
have those extra Worgen cards in there that don't really do anything.
Yeah.
There'll be dead draws when you hit
what
them,
does it
so-
remove to put those cards in, like the Shredder and the
Frothings?
Frothing?
Yeah, Shredders,
Fromage.
Frothings. Usually, maybe 1 unstable goal he's gone down to instead of 2.
Yeah.
Dread Corsair is a thing that you cut as well, which
Yeah,
is a
you
huge
play
amount of tempo.
Inventors instead, so
Yeah.
yeah, for more draw.
So it is weaker against Zoo, but you know, your Fiery War Axe, Deathspite, Armor Smith, early
Cool,
Patrons.
Whirlwinds.
Yeah, all that stuff is still there, so you still have a decent chance.
Okay, what would you pick? You just won with Paladin. What do you take?
So if he plays Druid, Rogue, and Patron, I would probably pick Druid. Because I think Zoo is not that great against Rogue either.
No.
So Zoo is
Zoo,
gonna
yeah,
be
Zoo
good
will
against Druid and so against Rogue and Patron.
yeah, I
yeah.
think the only
Druid
reason
is probably more solid. But the thing is, like in Conquest, right? You have to win with Zoo anyways.
Right.
It's not like so it's
But I think you want to try and get your Zoo to snipe that Druid at this point. So like the only reason you'd pick Zoo here is if you had a read that your opponent is going to pick Druid. And why
Yeah.
why would SilverName pick Druid here is my question.
yeah. But I mean,
So-
you might just want to pick Zoo actually because you wanna play it against the Druid, right? So you just play Zoo until you get to play his Druid, and then like you play your Druid against the rest. Because
Yeah,
you don't want
sure.
to. If you win with your Druid against his Druid, then basically Zoo have like terrible matchups left.
Right.
Yeah, so it makes sense actually, and you probably don't want to end up in the coin flip Druid versus Druid match anyway.
But Elscouta has chosen to go with Druid, it looks like. So it's going to be Druid into this Raging Worgen Patron. And SilverName has the decision to make here about whether he keeps Raw Grim Patron off the coin. This is always a tough decision in this matchup because you know Patron is your primary win condition in this matchup, but it's really slow in an opening hand with no coin, no Deathspite, no Inner Rage alongside it, for example. If you don't hit those cards immediately, you're found really wanting. And yeah, I like SilverName sending it back here, trying to get some early tempo minions.
Yeah, especially because Elscouta, I mean, obviously doesn't know, but he does have the coin in Innovate, so the Shredder is gonna come out really fast, and it's gonna be a huge threat if you have nothing to deal with it.
Yeah, absolutely. And Elscouta also knows this matchup. That's why he kept the Innervates Shredder. Because this is what you want to have as a Druid, just minions before the patrons happen, if they happen. And if they don't, well, you have minions and you just continue dealing damage with it.
Yeah. Especially a Shredder is like 4 every turn. It stacks up pretty fast.
Yeah, I mean, even if your opponent has the Fiery War Axe against Shredder, you still end up doing about 10 damage with it. By the time you've played it, they hit the Shredder, your 2-drop hits face, and then they hit the 2-drop again. Like, that's a ton of damage you've dealt already.
So do you think he wants to play the Shredder first turn, or play the Living Woods and just innovate the Shredder turn 2 and save the coin for later?
Looks like he's decided he wants turn 1 Shredder. I don't see anything too wrong with the Living Roots and holding onto the coin, but...
Yeah, what do you think the merits are of both options?
Yeah, I mean, this immediately shuts down Armorsmith, for example. So if Armorsmith is played this turn, you have a Shredder instead of 2 1/1s, which is obviously way better. But just having the coin gives your top decks a lot more flexibility over the next couple of turns. Like, it increases the amount of draws that are relevant if you still have a coin in your hand. Because you're sat with, like,
sometimes,
nothing.
like, the 5 drops, like, sometimes you can have awkward draws with Druid if you have, like, a 5 drop and, like, on turn 4 you have to hero power and do nothing. It just feels really bad.
Right. Yeah, I think it was just a gamble on his side. He hoped there is no Fireworks, and then Shredder's damage would stack up, especially because he had Living Roots and Savager as well. So maybe he was thinking that if there is no Fireworks, I just keep dealing damage. I go with the 2 trains next turn and maybe even Savager on 3 just to deal a big amount of damage and push the game in my favor.
But he was right in the way that SilverName changes 3 cards, right? Because you can, if you pay attention, you can see how many cards they send over, and SilverName changes 3 cards.
Yeah.
And you can't imagine him sending back a Fireworks. There's no way he will do that, right? So it's not as likely that he has it in his starting hand.
That's a really good point. Yeah, definitely.
Whereas if he kept his 3 cards, it's like, okay, very likely he has a Fireworks, or at least at the very least a Death Bite.
Yeah.
Speaking of Fiery Warx and Deathbite, that's probably 1 too many in the opening hand. Like, you don't mind drawing 1 copy of each in most matchups, that feels fine. But then when the 3rd weapon comes out, a bit unfortunate. But from Elscouta's side, just a handful of spells as well. Chooses to cycle the Wrath instead of the clean kill, and does pick up that Druid of the Claw, which, as we were talking about,
it's like
he doesn't have the coin.
So now on turn 4, where he can do nothing. He has to hero power, which is like, he gained like extra tempo early on in the game, but now on turn 4 is gonna be like a huge tempo waste because he's gonna have to hero power.
Yeah, unless he top decks something.
Yeah, but also he used 1 Shredder already, and they actually don't have that many 4 drops, right? He has Keeper of the Grove as well, that he can just like play to attack
Keeper
face. But I think you still have to do it probably in this matchup, or would you save it to clear the patrons when they come, the 2 damage, or you just keep your face to build a board yourself?
I think, like, generally in the matchup you'd want to hold on to it, but in this situation, you know, if you drew, like the Death Bites come down here, which has changed things. You probably wouldn't play Keeper in this situation, but with this hand, Force of Nature, Savage Draw, if you drew Keeper, you'd probably just shoot him in the face for 2 this time.
Definitely, because like even if the patrons come, you will not be able to do anything, so you have to be super aggressive to hope that there are no patrons and just push with the tempo. Those weapons are nice overall because you can deal with the minions, but then there is a drawback. You just lose health, and magical number is closer and closer. Ruined,
yeah, this is a bit of a wet noodle fight at the moment. The players just kind of slapping each other. They both have awful draws, and I'm just not drawing anything powerful.
Shredder!
The Shredder, the Shredder comes 1 turn too late.
The Shredder, that's interesting. When he plays a Druid of the Claw, taunted Druid of the Claw.
With the 2 Savage Roars in his hand, his plan is probably Druid of the Claw, Savage Roar on 8, and then combo on 9 to max out on damage. So he wants to keep that Druid of the Claw in his hand as a charge minion.
Yeah, it's also quite easy to kill the Druid of the Claw with the weapon and something else. Like Patron Whirlwind, for example, on the same turn, and you kind of expect it on 6.
And hey, right on time. Grim Patron is drawn.
Yeah.
And we can make as many patrons as we would like this turn. I mean, how much of your hand would we like to invest into
How many patrons is too many?
Yeah.
Well,
7. 7 is too many. 6 is fine. If you want to make 6, go nuts.
I think you should make 6, right? He's gonna go for it probably.
Yeah, but honestly, like, how many is too many really? If there is a Wrath and Swipe, like, can you really get some kind of like a board with patrons that they're easily to be killed with swipe effect somewhere along the way?
There are combinations of 6 patrons that are worse against Wrath and Swipe than 4 patrons would be, yes. But generally, like, 6 is fine. You can just do it. I mean, this is a middle ground. You just make 5. I mean, this is perfectly fine too.
He didn't trade the Shredder. That's interesting.
Oh wow, he didn't.
He went face. He went face with a Death Bite. Yeah. That's interesting.
So that's probably because if you trade into Shredder and if there is a Doomsayer, you are in trouble. Or like, if there is Lord Walker Cho or whatever. So like, it's probably better for him to allow Shredder to live, and if there is a Doomsayer, he will be able to deal with it.
Sure. I mean, most Shredder drops will be able to contest a patron here, at least one of the 2 health patrons.
Yeah.
So I guess there's not too much harm in leaving it up there, but you know, if it did drop a 1 health guy, then you're in a really good spot because you don't have that guaranteed kill onto one of your big patrons. So it's a risk to leave it up there for sure. Force of Nature is going to be used here, so he's going to have to abandon that all-in face plan now and respect the overall damage of the patrons. And that 3/3 being left up is just going to be able to replicate again now. We can get the Rampage hype going here if we want to.
Yeah.
Rampage and make 4 more patrons, right? Can get Rampage Whirlwind and make 4 more.
Yep.
Oh, 3 more. 3
Play-
new ones.
Can you do it really? Because you cannot rampage patron yet. You have to damage patron first.
Yeah, you trade, you rampage, and then there's
Oh,
two
yeah, yeah, yeah.
patrons
Whirlwind,
on the
right?
board. Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's probably the play here because it's gonna be very hard for his opponent to clear that.
Right, he had to use a Force of Nature to deal with the last board, and it wasn't even a good clear. You still have a 3/3 patron on the board, so just do it again. Why not, right?
Definitely. I think it's so interesting because you lose rampage in such a counterintuitive way. Like you want to use it on Morgan,
It doesn't want.
but it can actually just win the game right here.
Interesting.
It's I like the rampage.
I really like the Rampage play there.
Yeah. But it's really counterintuitive, as I said. Like, you normally just think Rampage can only go on Worgen. That's basically how it works.
Yeah.
It's like target a Worgen to give it plus 3 attacks.
Interesting. So Emperor will allow him to play Druid of the Claw, Savage Roar for 8 mana, and that is what, 12 damage. That's
What about-
not really good enough.
Can he keep her somehow? No, not really. No, Emperor is probably the best.
Seems that way, right?
Yeah, because he's not dying yet.
I mean, he can. No, he can't.
Tough hand suddenly.
Yeah. He can keep her to silence and Savage Roar, and that will neutralize the patrons finally.
Yes.
Keep her silence the 3/3 and Savage Roar the 3/2, and then the patron threat is dealt with for now. That's definitely a line you can take as well.
Especially because there's only 2 cards for Warrior.
Yeah. The only problem with that is normally when you like neutralize the patron threat, it's by clearing them all, and that also has the added benefit of playing around Battle Rage. Whereas in this situation, if one of those cards in hand was Battle Rage, it's still in a pretty bad spot. So he's just going to go ahead and jam the Emperor. I can't blame him for this either. The keeper play feels a bit passive, even though it does kind of neutralize the threat that's in front of you. But I think this line is just going to lead to him getting snowballed out of this game quite quickly.
What do you think about it, Elki? Would you do you like Emperor, or would you like to clear the patrons there?
Yeah, I think I like the Emperor better. But it's always like, because you already use 1 war, use 2 Whirlwind, right? You use 2 Whirlwind already, right? So it's very unlikely that because you use 2 Whirlwind, the other thing is like what a good or like a cool Taskmaster, also Inner Rage, but you use one of those as well.
I use both Inner Rages.
Both, right? Yeah. So because of that, I guess I think the Emperor play is better because the only other Whirlwind effect it will have is probably Death's Bite, which you just use, and the Ghoul.
Finally, Rampage on a minion.
Yep. This gets in there. 6/5 patron of Destiny right now.
That's the ultimate brawler, right? So everybody get in here, but this guy is really getting in there. Oh man.
No, it's a really tough spot though.
It is, yeah. He does have that discounted Drake swipe, but it's not quite good enough. Can do the 5 to the beefy patron, but he will just start duplicating the 3 health patron still. He can silence the beefy patron, but then there's still the 3 health guy, which he can choose to swipe, but
yeah, but then it's still
then the minions are still on the board.
You're at 9.
Yeah, it's a mess.
Yeah, but this was supposed to be a bad matchup to start with, and Elscouta, he did get a bad hand in a way. Plus, he kind of misused the coin. Like, he went for the gamble, it didn't work for him. So right now he's in a very bad spot.
Yeah, I went for the very aggressive line, and like you can get more that you do. If you do a White Wolf, it's like super. It's like the nuts, of course. Like if you like go coin innovate and then turn to White Wolf, it's perfect. But then sometimes like he lost like 2 turns like really passively after the initial threat, and it kind of cost him.
Wow.
How many patrons they want?
Depends if he wants to draw the cards here
I think
instead.
He wants to draw the cards, right?
He
He wants to draw the cards to get leader. And to get probably execute and like 1 more patron again.
Slam,
Sure.
Whirlwind.
Oh, there's another Whirlwind.
That's not enough yet. This 6-8. Really close to just winning the game right here. But he can also just clear, get more patrons.
Play Lothar.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's game over really, right?
Yeah.
If he just trades off here and plays Lothar, that is essentially lethal. It's just a lethal that is delayed by 1 turn while your opponent has to reach for the concede button.
Can you combine like Lothar and lethal into one word?
People make fun of me for the way I pronounce Lothar anyway, so...
Lothar.
Yeah.
Lothar. Nah, I tried it, I failed, okay.
Yeah.
Does that have a different name in Lothar is like Hoeb in French.
Oh, in Polish it's a different name as well. In Polish it's Ochydziarz. which is totally different than Lothab.
That's
it's a new name,
fine.
basically.
Yeah, sure. But
Yeah, Patron steals the victory here with a pretty commanding victory actually. It seemed like once he built the initial Patron boards, it was like Elscouta could never clear everything, and then it just like snowballed out of it. Just make more Patron, and it's like
yeah, he did have a couple of options. He could have taken two or possibly 3 opportunities to get the full clear on patrons, and he chose to try and make the more initiative
perhaps
play
he should
instead.
have done the keeper, as you suggested, the keeper and Savage
Savage
Row.
Row.
And just,
I mean,
silence it.
I don't think it changes the outcome. I definitely don't begrudge the Emperor play there either. I think it was probably just the play to be aggressive, but because as you said, you really evaluate quite well. Like all of these cards are gone, right? The 2 Inner Rages, the Whirlwind. So like it seemed unlikely he'd be able to respawn a bunch of patrons. Unfortunately, it didn't work out that way. So.
Definitely. It was funny in the middle where they were just getting spells and no traction was there from both players. But in the end, the patrons, they have a nice combo and it worked. Okay, so patron is out. The combo Worgen is out. The combo Murloc is out. They are at 1-1 right now. What do they pick? Is it Druid versus Druid?
I think both players will be trying to engineer the stronger matchup here. So Elscouta wants to get his Zoo into the Druid, for example. So it's going to be a little bit of a 50-50 mind game of they're going to try and outthink each other because SilverName will probably feel that Rogue is slightly favored against Druid. Most people who are confident enough to bring Rogue to a tournament feel that Rogue is favored against Druid.
Eternal arguments.
Yeah, so SilverName will be trying to get Rogue against Druid, and Elscouta will be trying to get Warlock against Druid, which means we could quite possibly just get Warlock against Rogue, but then there could be just a double bluff where we get the Druid mirror, so...
then we go deeper.
Yeah.
Elky, who do you think is better, Rogue or Druid? Like when you play the matchup?
Usually I think Druid is a bit better, but it also depends. Like if Druid has Harrison, he can just like change everything.
Oh yeah,
Harrison's
huge.
This can be like a huge tempo, but I think Druid is usually like more solid, but it's not very favored. It's like still close. What do you think?
I think like I play more Druid, so I'll say that Druid is actually a bit favored, but it's really close to coin flip. I think it's all about the coin. Like if Rogue gets the coin, then it has a slight edge. If Rogue doesn't get a coin, then Druid has a slight edge. So like statistically, out of 100 games, I think it's really close to 50-50.
Yeah, I'd say it's like 55-45 for Druid maybe.
Oh, that much, okay.
55, yeah.
Depends like what you play probably. Subtle? You're a Rogue or a Druid now?
I think Rogue has a slight edge, very slight. Like 50,
pick your camp.
52% maybe. Like you said, the coin can be huge. If Rogue has coin, they're in a decent spot, but also preparation can serve that purpose as coin as well, so they kind of have that edge where they can get either. Because Violet Teacher prep Sap, Drake prep Eviscerate on like turn 4 or turn 5 or something. That's such a huge swing on the board. And then Druid has to start playing from behind, which Druid doesn't like doing. So.
Yeah. And that's exactly the matchup we're going to see now.
Hey!
So me and Elky think Druid is going to win this, and Solo thinks Rogue is going to win this.
I will say that all of that is based on just standard oil Rogue. If this is some sort of twist, because I believe his Rogue was banned in the first set, so we don't know what this Rogue deck is. So if it's a Malagos Miracle Rogue list, which is possible because of the Tomb Pillager, then that's a little bit slower, so it struggles a bit more against Druid because it takes more time to set up.
What's the position of Tomb Pillager in oil? Because I've seen it as well.
Yeah, they do have Tomb Pillager in oil, right?
Yeah, they have it, yeah, but I mean, it's flexible. People disagree on which 4-drops to play in oil. You can have Shredders, Teachers, Tomb Pillagers, whereas when you have Gadgetzan in your deck, right, you just always want those coins. So.
All right. So there's the Gadgetzan. Yeah. But is it Malagos for sure though?
So Malagos is better or worse than Oil Rogue, do you think, against Druid?
Worse. Oil Rogue is a better matchup than Malagos Rogue is.
Because Malagos is too slow?
Yeah, just a little bit slower, yeah.
But then I think there is a deck in the middle, which is not a Malagos deck.
Like the board control Miracle Rogue.
Miracle Rogue.
Yeah.
It's so cool that we have 3 different rogues now though.
Yeah. Just went for the longest time. It was like, okay, this guy's brought Rogue to this tournament. What deck do you think it is, Nim? Well, it's probably Oil Rogue.
It was mostly the question, do you think he's playing Dr. Boom or not?
Yeah, yeah.
That's it. Like, all the other Oil Rogues were the same.
Yeah.
Okay, so interesting Tomb Pillager. Gadgetzan is back. Shiv. Well, I would say Shiv is actually possible for Malagos then, right?
Yeah. It would seem, based on the Tomb Pillager, the Gadgetzan, and the Shiv coming off the top there, we're looking at a Malagos deck here, seems most likely.
Can you explain the Malygos then to the viewers?
So the idea of Malygos Miracle is it's based on a very old deck called Miracle Rogue, which was when Gadgetzan was a cheaper card. So you play your Gadgetzan Auctioneer and you use coins and preparations and cheap spells to cycle through your whole deck, and then you build up a big burst combo. That burst combo used to be Leroy and Shadow Step, but Leroy was nerfed so that that combo is too expensive now. So instead, people use Malygos in combination with spells like Eviscerate, Blade Flurry, sometimes Sinister Strike, Shiv as well. And you can put together kind of 20 or so damage in one turn with a good draw.
That's a pretty nice deck. Interesting. Like
Elscouta, who picked up the Shade, is a really good pickup for him, because then he has something to play.
Yeah, he might be scared to drop it here because of the threat of Fan of Knives, though, into the Blood Mage.
Yeah, but then the problem is, like, if he doesn't play it now, it's gonna, like, there's always gonna be a threat of Fan of Knives, and he's never gonna use Fan of Knives for anything else, probably against the Druid.
Right.
Yeah,
I would like to cycle maybe, but
possible Flurry as well later on.
Wow, he is going to respect the possible Fan, so just try and get the Blood Mage off the board, and then if the Shade comes down, then the Fan doesn't have the spell power anymore. But I mean, that's a huge loss of tempo when in fact there just isn't a Fan of Knives in the hand here.
Yeah,
but
true.
It's honestly, it's one of the reasons why you play Blood Mage on turn 2 against Druid, is just to make that bluff. Like, don't play your Shade because I'm going to fan it, and it pays off there. So.
It did pay off, yes.
So Elky, what do you think is the strategy that Druid has to take to win this game?
Well, they have to threaten, they have to get the board control because they want to be able to threaten the Rogue with a combo. So to have the Rogue like react to the Druid board basically, and like to always have something on board to be threatening, and that's like kind of one of the key of the matchup.
And how many minions will be too many?
Well, 2 would be too many probably. If they have the combo by turn 8, you know, it's very threatening. If you have like just a Shredder and a Keeper, it's like, oh damn.
Yeah.
It's like 24 damage to my face.
Exactly.
So it's like...
Okay, that sounds cool. So Druid will try to fight versus Rogue and get some tempo, get some minions on board. Lothar might be quite good, especially if there is a big Gadgetzan turn coming.
Yeah, Lothar is key card, I think, in this matchup. His key card is in a lot of matchups, basically. It's like so powerful because it like locks up your board and like save it from almost anything.
Yeah, it was introduced, in fact, like as a direct answer to Miracle Rogue, because Miracle Rogue used to be such a hugely powerful deck, and Blizzard's philosophy is kind of, we don't like nerfing things, we're going to introduce new things in the game that you can use to beat them. So that's what Lothar was for originally. It was like counter Gadgetzan.
But it's also so powerful against Freeze Mage, and against Druid as well. It's just so strong because you just play Lothar and it's like, I don't care if you have combo, I just like next turn.
But it rotates out in standard, so this might be one of the last tournaments where we see Lothar, at least for now, because it will still be available in Wild. So in the future when we have Wild tournaments, Lothar can go wild.
Interesting. Elscouta just going to go ahead and respect this Tomb Pillager here, swipe it away. SilverName did coin it out, so he essentially just played a 3-mana 5/4 that turn. The coin just replaces itself in his hand. So those coins are very useful, because looking at his hand right now, not only are they useful with the Gadgetzan Auctioneer in a few turns, but he can use them to buff up and get a big Van Cleef out early here as well if he wants to.
Definitely. That's a bit dangerous because there might be a Keeper of the Grove, which we see there is in hand. But also what's really important is that, so as you mentioned, this Rogue was banned. So at the moment, Elscouta doesn't know what this Rogue is. He doesn't expect Gadgetzan, so you probably just expect a standard oil.
Right. Yeah, very possible. Until he's going to see something like this Shiv being fired here might be the first alarm bell that sells. Yeah. Shiv to face is not a very common oil rogue play, but yeah, Shiv coin Van Cleef for the 6/6 here. So he is just playing for tempo and not really valuing his auctioneer resources too much. He's just fighting the game honestly on the board, minion for minion with the Druid, and doing quite well at it for now, but the Keeper is going to shut down a lot of initiative here.
So how do you think the strategy would change? If he knew he was a Malygos Rogue with a Gadgetzan, would he play any different from the Druid side?
Based on the play so far, probably not. I mean, the only real big decision he's had to make is whether or not to drop the Shade early on, and I don't think, like, Fan of Knives is kind of equally likely either way, I think, so...
And I think later on he can value that when you approach Oil Rogue, you really want to kill all the minions that are on board, because then Rogue can get tempo and buff the minions and attack face for more. And if there is Malygos, maybe you can just leave some minions, because Malygos is still coming at some point. So basically you want to win the game faster than versus standard Rogue. And also, like, what about the draw? Like, there is sprint, preparation sprint for Oil Rogue, and here there is Gadgetzan. So I think versus Malygos, you might think I have a bit more time.
Yeah.
But if I give him more time, then he would just win.
Yeah, I think the idea against Malagos is to be a little bit more aggressive, because as you say, it's something I pointed out at the start. Like they're a little bit slower to set up. You know, the draw turn, if you have a prep in Oil Rogue, you can get the draw done on turn 4. You can get a big swingy tempo turn with a prep done on turn 4 with Violet Teacher in Oil Rogue, for example.
So they got the oil from it too, right? From the Malagos. The Malagos Rogue doesn't have the oil.
Yes,
yeah.
exactly.
So then you can overextend a little bit to some extent, but
Right.
because you don't mind having like 2 draws on the board because it's not gonna be able to clear it with just oil and flurry.
Yeah. So not only do you not mind leaving their minions up because you're not scared of them getting buffed by oil, but also you can overextend a bit more because you're more secure against the big blade flurries.
But still, does Elscouta really know it's Malagos?
I mean, he got shivved in the face. It's pretty it's pretty telling when
It's
you
like
get shivved in
Malagos
the
is saying
face.
hello.
Yeah.
It's like putting that fish in front of your
It's like,
doorstep.
hey, this first shiv's gonna tickle, but just be warned, there's another one coming later that's gonna hurt
For
a hell
6
of a lot
damage.
more. Yeah.
Well, minions might be small, but it is the damage that's being dealt.
But it does add up pretty quickly, and it's also like those minions, like 3 and 2 health, is pretty annoying to remove as a druid. It's like usually they need Wrath and like.
Yeah, and also like Malagos or no Malagos, like the minions will be key to dealing damage and winning this game. And even if there is a Malagos, Malagos is not an OTK. It's like, okay, you get Malagos and you prep, eviscerate, it's a lot of damage, cool, but it's not 30.
Right. Yeah, I mean, and I love the strategy here from SilverName. You know, he's accepted that his deck is too slow to just sit and try and set up against Druids, so he is just fighting for tempo. Basically, every play he's made is just maximum power on the board that he could have made that turn.
Yeah.
We saw him coin out the Tomb Pillager, max power on board, make the big Van Cleef, max power on board. The SI plays that he's made both times, it's just maximum initiative every turn. So that's what he's going for. Like, he's not banking on the Malagos strategy here. He's just going to try and beat him up with 3/3s and 2/2s and see how it goes.
Definitely, and respect there, heal from Ancient of Lore instead of drawing cards. So Elscouta knows that any kind of damage matters.
Oh, he has a lot of cards already. He has a combo. He has like more cards than he can play for the next 4 turns or 5 turns. It's like so much cost. So the other option maybe would to like play the Keeper on Van Cleef and play the Shade. I guess it's weaker to the Fan of Knives or some kind of Blade Flurry, but then the Ancient is probably weak to the Eviscerate as well. So it's like, which one do you want to play around? It's a very difficult decision.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But that Drake pickup is pretty huge for SilverName. Just lets him keep
Quite
tempoing here, and just the Eviscerate cleans out. 8 more damage goes to face with minions.
Even Shiv is fine, because Shiv deals 2 damage, so you can finish it with Edwin and weapon attack, or just use one of the SIs if you don't want to take damage.
Yeah, that works too. See what he goes with here. Wow, he's going to go Gadgetzan Deadly Poison and trade with the dagger and the 2/2, I assume, here. Would have loved to have hit a prep off the top there, obviously, to really start getting the chain going, but he's going to demand an answer from his opponent.
Still
right
really
now.
good value, and also his opponent uses a swipe on the Tomb Pillager, so it's going to force out, like the only way is really like a Force of Nature or like the Druid of the Claw in charge form, but it's still like they're not really great answers to.
It seems like this Gadgetzan is kind of like a lightning rod. Not only it's not easy to answer it, the thing is like if you try to answer Gadgetzan, you will not be able to take care of the free freeze, and they still continue dealing damage.
Yeah.
So like, it's a win-win situation for SilverName. If Gadgetzan is removed, fine, he just protected the free freeze and will be able to attack with them. If it's not, well,
yeah. That's very true. Just using the, as I said, he's not really going down the normal Malagos Miracle line here. You know, he's not using Gadgetzan into Malagos as his win condition. So, it's a good plan here, just not to value the.
Do you sap Lothar?
I mean,
just go 10 to face and be like, "What up, bro?"
Probably not. That doesn't seem ideal. I mean, you can just deadly poison and kill Lothar. That would put you down to, what, 18 with the Shade on board? Yeah, you could just get comboed.
I don't think he wants to play.
Right.
Azure Drake is not bad as well. Just like kill Lothar with a 3/3, 3/1, go 7 to face, play Azure Drake, weapon up.
So you'd be at 18, combo would be 14 plus 3, 17. Yeah, I mean, you would die.
Yeah, you can use your weapon, otherwise you would die.
Okay,
Yeah.
alright. So
but
you
I
definitely...
think you can also trade the... He's sapping it.
He's
Wow.
going to do it. I looked at this and I counted that he didn't quite have enough to beat it if it came down again, but I might be wrong. I guess it forces the Shade to trade? No, he does have enough. He does have enough. He's fine. Yeah. I thought it was a 10-mana turn for his opponent, so if like Lothar Taunt came down, he was locked out, but...
I love it. Like, it's so counterintuitive. to stop Lothar when he has Judges but
It's probably has to use a combo to clear now, because it's like the only way that he could clear the whole board.
Yeah. No, I laughed at your play, Nimsh, but I think it's actually right. I thought he was going into a 10-mana turn from the Druid, and he knew there was a Druid in the Claw in the hand because he sapped that as well. So I was counting like, okay, so Lothar, Druid of the Claw comes down. How does he beat that? But yeah, I mean, this is kind of awkward.
So yeah, just clear.
I think you have
use a combo to clear.
Yeah.
There's not many other options besides like Druid of the Claw and Shredder, but
you've seen both saps, so
it's pretty weak.
Yeah, you've seen both saps, so Druid of the Claw will stick, but it's not going to be enough, right?
Yeah,
it's
but you can eviscerate. Like there's a lot of ways to get rid of it.
Yeah. Well, so that's over pretty much. There's 5-10 damage easily in hand at that very moment. So SilverName has it. Even combo wasn't enough. Right? Because weapon is plus to attack.
Yeah, Drake, Deadly Poison, Abyss. Fine.
Yes. Even getting those preps.
Yeah, can get the prep Shiv in as well in there if he wants. Prep the fan as well for some BM, why not? Let's just go nuts.
Come on, Malagos. Come on, Malagos. No Malagos.
Okay.
Even the backstab for the Shade. How sick is that?
Yeah, pretty awesome.
Yeah. Convincing victory from SilverName. It was
definitely. I mean, from the very beginning, it seemed like he had this game under control. And imagine if the Edwin was not answered. There was Keeper of the Grove to silence it, but if there would not be any Keepers, like, can he play Druid of the Claw? How much mana was there even? But whatever happens, like a 6/6 Edwin is just great on board at that very moment.
And you saw him, like I mentioned, just really going for the initiative and making the biggest board presence that he could on every single turn, which is just what you need to do against Druid. And like, no matter what deck you're playing, the way you beat them is just getting on the board ahead of them, right? It doesn't matter if you're playing a heavy control deck like Reno Lock, for example. The games that they win are the games where they get like Twilight Drake and Sludge Belcher down early and they actually contest with minions. Like, so it's just how you have to do it against Druid, and he did it very successfully there.
But then SilverName is not out of the woods yet. He is left with Druid, but there's also Druid for Elscouta and his Zoo deck. So right now, if Elscouta goes for Warlock, he will have a good matchup that he can probably take, and then end up in the Druid mirror match, which is a 50-50. So Elscouta can still take it, even though SilverName has an advantage for now.
Yeah, SilverName has an advantage for sure. I'm not sure how much of his Druid deck we saw, but honestly, there's builds of Druids these days that actually do okay against Zoo. If you have, maybe double roots, 1 aspirant, or 1 roots, double aspirant, something like that, like 3 of those cards, or even 4 total in your deck.
MCT is pretty sick too,
is huge.
It can make like the biggest tempo swing sometimes, and especially if you expect to have a lot of Paladin and Zoo, it's pretty good against both.
Yeah.
Definitely. And Druid is a deck that can actually turn around things with Innervate into Shredder, Innervate into Keeper, then Coin into Keeper, and suddenly Zoo is like, okay, you have 2/4 minions on board and I have nothing. What do I do?
That's right. I remember. SilverName was playing the extra Yeti. I remember this.
Yep. Yeah. And why is he playing Chillwind Yeti again?
Oh, Yeti. Wow.
Yeah, we saw this in the first game. Just Chillwind Yeti came off the top, and we're like, whoa. That's a Yeti. If we win, we forgot to ask him after the first series. If he wins and comes for another interview, then we're going to have to ask him about the Chillwind Yeti.
Absolutely, because he's, I guess he's playing it except for other 4-drops. So he's not playing some 4-drops. Yeah. We don't know exactly which 4-drops is he not playing, but maybe 5 health makes a difference.
Yeah, I mean, he's might just be playing the extra copies, right? It's something that people were putting an extra 4-drop in for a while because Aspirant helps you hit 4 mana more consistently than you used to be able to. But even then, people tended to go for like Savage Combatant instead of Chillwind. Just kind of weird.
So which 4-drop do you think he dropped? I can't imagine him dropping the Keeper. It's just like 2 key against like... So Shredder?
I feel like he's just in there as an extra one, mate. Like 2 Shredders, 1 Yeti, maybe. Like, plus the
or maybe
Keeper.
1 Shredder, 1...
Oh my!
He's
Yeti, wow.
But this is actually a really great opening because he will be able to Innervate Yeti onto 2 and then Coin Yeti. Which year is it solo?
I don't know. Has he just got so rage tilted at the card piloted Shredder that he's decided he just wants a 4/5 instead?
It makes sense if he doesn't like the Shredder, and maybe he's practicing for Standard already because Shredder rotates out.
This is crazy. I have no words, Nimsh. Like, help.
Well, we can easily check which is the better 4-drop because there are 2 Shredders for Elscouta, 2 Yetis for SilverName.
Yeah, I mean, we'll find out who wins the 4-drop wars here, right? It's going to come down to it.
Elscouta had the Wild Growth, which is pretty key in this spot because it's going to save him a turn to be able to play the Shredder right back into the Yeti.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to come down. This is it. It's Shredder versus Yeti, the fated battle that we have all dreamed of for so long.
This battle may be actually worth around $2,000. Whoever wins this has $2,000 extra.
Oh, it's good. Like he
Yeah,
can wrath it.
Is he gonna wrath it?
He can
or
wrath
is he gonna
it.
coin the other Yeti?
It's close. It's
yeah,
really close.
Difficult decision, huh?
If he uses the coin, maybe if he gets like... Well, he will be able to use the coin in the future for sure. This is a druid deck. So even next turn, like...
They could save it to use druid next turn. Probably
Yeah.
coin out the druid of the claw.
Or like Genshin of Lore or Dr. Boom in the future. Like coin can all combo even on turn 8. So
Yeah.
coin
Right.
can always be used. But yeah, double Yeti it is, guys. Double. And it's also so funny for me personally because the Yeti on the art in WoW TCG was on an art of Fear, card called Fear, Warlock ability. So this Yeti is actually running away from a Warlock that's fearing it,
Nice.
like scaring it.
Nice.
Oh, he could actually wrath and savage roar and clear both, right?
Wrath Savage. Yeah, Wrath Savage. That's
Would
a
he
good.
do that? Would he do that?
I kind of like that. It's a decent play.
Just go
But
to
no,
it.
no.
It is a battle.
Elscouta just refuses to give an inch here. He's like, no, you are playing inferior cards. I'm going to play my superior cards. Everyone's told me that this card's better than Yeti, so I'm just going to play it and I'm going to win.
I would love to see double Yeti to the face. You want to race me, bro? Sure. My minions have more health. Well, that can die easily.
Yep. You could just Living Roots that and go face for 8 right now if you want.
I don't hate that.
Yeah, it's probably the play actually. It's probably much better, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, if you don't Living Root, what are you gonna do? Just hero power and...
Exactly.
Right.
And also, like, in Druid versus Druid, you want to be the one with the tempo. So, like, you want to be the one who is... Like, whoever starts trading into minions kind of loses
Yeah.
the mind games and everything. Because then, like, one player will just continue going for face. And then he will just win with the combo. And the other will try trading and stabilize. And then, oops, I'm dead.
Yes, especially, I mean, you really don't want to trade into a Shredder because it's gonna have another minion basically for free, right? If you
Yeah.
trade into it.
With charge, in a way, right?
Yes. So it's...
And also, if Elscouta chooses again to not flinch from his side and decides not to trade into one of the Yetis, then you have Druid of the Claw to come down on the following turn, which protects them even more, lets you go face again. So
Yeah.
Oh,
it
he
starts
did.
to build up really quickly.
Interesting that he didn't use the Living Root. I think he's keeping it for the Drake later, but it's just like...
Or maybe a minion from Shredder, possibly. Like, on one hand, this 1-2 doesn't seem that threatening.
Ooh, he may be about to lose one of those Yetis
No!
to the Lance Carrier as well. The Drake Innovate Wrath for 4, and that could allow him to kill one of the Yetis with the Lance Carrier. So he might get punished for leaving it up here. That's a possible line we can go down, but Wrath, Keeper of the Grove is a
Savage
functional
Roar
play
might be
as well.
better too, no?
Savage Roar isn't bad either, sure.
He will take a lot of damage to his face, but then you could like...
We
could like Savage Roar and Innovate Drake, and
Yeah.
then you would have a really strong board.
Yeah.
It's very true.
But then the damage is getting scary, and this Living Roots might actually land on face at some point. Because there's Root of the Claw as well. So
Yeah.
imagine getting, let's say, Force of Nature next turn
Yeah.
in hand. So SilverName might just charge his way through this game.
Shadow Boxer, okay. I mean, there's some potential Ancient of Lore relevance to that card. It could happen. It could happen.
Yeah, just 1 damage to face because you healed yourself.
Yeah. Alright, yeah, I like this.
That's another way
I
to
like
get
this
the board,
just fine. Yeah.
Well, this means Azure Dra- Or do you go for 6 taunt?
I think, yeah, Druid of the Claw in stats mode, I think, here, potentially followed up by Drake Living Roots next turn
Yeah,
if he
oh yeah.
chooses not to attack. Makes sense.
Much better, much
Yeah.
better. Double Savage Roar.
I mean, I've liked Elky's suggestion of using Savage Roar both times he's suggested it, and now the second one's come into hand and kind of saying, like, you know, you could have used this first one for some board control at some
But now
point.
it's like the trade is not...
Not
Very
that good
good.
anymore.
Yeah.
But then we have double Savage Roar Innervate. He just needs Force of Nature and turn 10. And then he can double combo for 22. Just continue trading till he can double combo. Innervate Hero Power. Oh no, he actually has money.
He has the 2 mana, yeah, we're fine.
It's like, why
I think he wants to pass here, right? You have to pass.
Yeah, I think the pass happens, and then there is a potentially really nice Drake Living Roots option here to snipe down the 2/3 if you'd like to.
And kill the 4/4, I think, as well. You're still...
Uh,
right now you're fighting for the board in a way.
Yeah, I think it depends on maybe a little bit on your draw. Like possibly if you pick up a Savage Roar or a Force of Nature, you might consider face, but yeah, with just more kind of bricks in your hand, I think you take the value here.
And this matchup is also so important for SilverName because if he wins it, he not only wins the match, but he will not have to fight versus Zoo. And if Elscouta wins, he ends up in a really good matchup with his own Zoo versus a Druid deck.
Right. Very true. And yeah, he does respect the Drake, respects the power of Wrath, Living Roots, Swipe, etc. There's the Ancient of Law, the turn after!
Doing that,
The
really?
turn after it dies.
Yeah, you will have like 1 damage landing somewhere.
But you have to use Savage Roar now, right, to clear?
Well, there is Force now as well.
I mean, if he doesn't clear now, it's just taking too much damage, I think. He can Savage Roar and like
I like it.
attack with his hero on the 4-2 and attack with
Yeah,
the...
I think I like it. It's basically, it's a great play because you end up with the 5-5 and you're not even taking that much damage.
Right, you just restart the game with a 5-5 on the board and Dr. Boom to follow up. Like, it
Yeah.
seems so strong, yeah.
Yeah, and then like if you do not do it, there can be a swipe just killing your 5-5.
Yeah, also, his opponent only has like... He's only gonna have 7 mana, so it's unlikely that he can combo. He needs both Innovate and Force of Nature and Savage Roar. Out of 5 cards, it's not super likely.
Yeah, that's a valid point.
Yeah, especially because Innovate is usually not a card that you want to keep for the combo. Like, it just have so much more power. Like, the faster you can use it because of the tempo. So it's like, if you had Innovate for like few turns, you would have used it somehow to get a quick creature out faster.
Yep, definitely. Makes a lot of sense. Okay, so what do you do now as a Druid? You cannot really stop the 5-5. The 5-5 will connect somewhere. So do you draw with Azure Drake, or do you just
I
lock
think
it?
you might want to draw with Azure Drake and use low tap like later on when you can.
Block the combo?
Yeah, when you can block the combo, when like you would have leader with the combo.
I think this is just a combo bluff here, right? Like, he's forcing his opponent to hero power, saying that, you know, I've just ramped to 9 mana.
Yeah,
So
the problem is that he can boom and hero power.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's
Which
just
is
not
like-
a big deal.
I counter your bluff with my Dr. Boom.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, to an extent, when you have 2 wild growths in hand, using the first one accelerates the point
Yeah,
at
of
which the
course.
second one becomes a card draw. So there is a reason to use it, but it just has the added effect of bluffing combo at the same time
Yeah.
when your opponent's at 14.
But there
Yeah,
is
it was still the right move, right? Because it's better, still better than hero power
Yeah,
in that
for
turn.
sure.
So it's still like,
definitely.
but at least he has BGH to get rid of with the boom.
Yeah, but you probably start with... Do you start with Azure Drake first? Or do you... How much mana there is there? 8 mana. Azure Drake to draw some... Do you want to have Azure Drake on board? I guess you do. It's a force.
It's a real feels bad man turn because you're playing Drake, Big Game Hunter into Boombots, which are the 2 most killed minions all time by Boombots. So
Yeah, but you could play the Living Woods to and Innovate just to have more target for the... You could play like 2 Living Woods and then there's an attack 1 Boombot and there would less chance that your minions die to it,
yeah,
right?
that's not bad.
Yeah.
Then you're pretty weak to swipe, but I mean, you're gonna be weak. It's a weak spot where you're kind of weak. Because
Right,
there's a lot of things, so it's difficult.
It's like making the best out of the bad situation. I kind of like the Living Roots, but he still values it as a damage spell, I guess, in a way. The bombs can whiff. There is, with the combo and with the Living Roots, how much damage is there? Basically 22.
16, 20, 22, yeah.
Well,
23, right? With the hero power.
Right, yeah, Innovate.
Yeah,
Innovate,
But you might
Innovate,
still just want to do it just to clear the board and like also we get more value out of the boom bot. You could clear and put like 20 damage and then you still threaten the opponent a lot from like any kind of savage, any kind of other force of nature or any kind of Druid of the Claw.
You can actually do it. You can combo and trade one of the Boombots in,
Yeah.
and then if it hits face for 4, you have lethal. And if it doesn't, then you can just go with the board control play, like you said, Elky. So I wouldn't have hated that for sure.
I definitely
it
like the
because
combo.
you get like more value out of your boom bots too, because they both have 2 more attacks.
Right.
And he puts like, if your opponent has 6 life with no board, it's like puts a lot of pressure on him. It's very difficult. Basically, it's like praying for you not to draw another force of nature.
and now it's super awkward because the Living Roots shapeshift the Azure Drake and play Tempo BGH.
Wait, I looked away for a second and an Azure Drake survived Boombots? Like, what happened?
It did actually. You weren't looking.
What? He didn't kill. That's really weird. He let the Drake live. That's like.
Wait, so if he
What?
gets
That's
force,
like that's a really weird turn, I think.
yeah.
Because now he's like dead to the combo. He's like, he could be dead to the combo.
Is this enough? It's
Uh,
14 damage.
If Wild Growth hits Savage Roar, it's enough.
Yeah, or.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. All right, one time. Is that the Savage Roar? No.
Oh, that's a pretty good one though.
Rough. Yeah.
Yeah,
14
Wrath for 2 on the Big Game Hunter, sure.
Get swipe off the top. Swipe face.
Yeah.
I hate it.
Let's get Savage or trade and
One card off. He's still in a good spot though. Like he's not dead to like he can just kill the minions here.
Yeah. How? What's the best way to do it though? Like send the Drake face and then Living Roots one of the minions.
You have to send the Drake face because like you're not even gonna die.
Right. Because you don't need this Living Roots anymore, right? So just maybe respect the minion. No, he doesn't care. All right, he's just gonna leave that one minion up.
That's absolutely fine.
Yeah, one Savage Roar's been used, so he knows that double combo isn't a threat here, and he's alive against one combo. So this is perfectly reasonable, but. Alright,
Druid of the Claw. Well, combo doesn't save him here. Druid of the Claw doesn't save him.
Druid of the Claw just leaves the Azure Drake up. Even if he Druid of the Claw's trades hero powers, the Drake will still do the clean 6 to the Druid of the Claw, and then the combo will still go face. So.
Yeah, so it seems it's over. So
yeah, he'd have to Druid of the Claw, innovate Force of Nature to live, which is not a play you're gonna make. You're just not gonna do it. It's just never gonna be right. So.
Yeah. Well, so it seems that SilverName will be our first finalist.
Yeah, looking good. Wow! I'd say it's just never a thing that you're gonna do.
Is he just gonna do it? Wait, so you combo out?
So you Force of Nature, you clear everything, and then you innovate the Druid of the Claw. It's a possible line.
Yeah, that's what he's gonna do.
Yeah.
Alright, so this stops the combo from being lethal. Okay, Subtle.
I mean,
you cheated me.
It's the right play. It's the right play in the situation. I just figured, like, I mean, I guess it is his only way to live, but it just feels like such a miserable situation with like no real win condition that I don't know.
Yeah, but only shows the skill of Elscouta making the read. Like he says, hey, there is a combo in hand, so I need to do this to survive.
Yeah, I mean, he's still not in a great position for sure, because if your opponent has combo, they can choose whether or not to like do the initiative thing. Oh, is it still lethal? Oh, it's lethal because he has Innovate Hero Power? Yes. It's lethal because he has Innovate Hero Power.
18, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so with Exact Lethal, SilverName is the first finalist at the ESL Legendary Series tournament. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, the Yeti have done it.
Yeti! Actually, Yeti won!
Yeti actually
We didn't see a Shredder, right? We didn't see a Shredder get drawn in either of his games.
Yeah, so we can have a strong assumption that he might not play any or one maybe.
That's crazy.
Or he's like having them on bottom of the deck because they're like mechs, so they go to the bottom, kind of like heavy mechs.
That's just nuts. I really, really want to talk to him about it. Hopefully he does win the tournament, so we get a nice interview with him and we can fire that question out. But
oh yeah, because like we actually skipped the winner interview for this one.
Yeah.
Sure. So that was an impressive match overall. Especially I think I like the Rogue game where he went super aggressive with those creatures with a lot of power on board. And Druid versus Druid was quite interesting. Elki, do you have anything to say about that specific matchup?
Yeah, it was pretty interesting. Yeah, I think like Elscouta could have definitely used the combo with the boombots and clear the board. Like not clearing the board and leaving the Drake on the. It made pretty awkward. It made for pretty awkward because he had to use one piece of the combo after anyways. But the Yeti have done it. That's pretty impressive.
Right. I think you pointed out a couple of really good turns. He could have used Savage Roar for tempo a lot earlier than he did as well. That could potentially have got him back onto board.
Yeah,
because
it's always difficult because you want to keep it because it's part of the combo. It's just so powerful, right? But then like.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
All right, so we have the first finalist. That's SilverName, not to confuse with SilverMane, even though he's playing War Games. I will just call him SilverMane. I think this is like a really glorious name. That's his nickname. And then we have 2 more matches for you guys. We have the second semifinal and then the grand final, the final, and we'll crown our champion. But for now, we're ready to go into the break. So stay tuned for the next semifinal in just a couple of moments.
One of the newest additions